We were in Orlando for a little while. At one point, my wife took my youngest son to Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
They went in and ordered, and then he turned to her and he said, "Mommy, why do all those people have big fat bellies?" Because apparently everybody in the restaurant was overweight.
Sure.
And she was just like, ask me in the car, son.
Quiet, please.
Apparently everybody was overweight in the Orlando Chick-fil-A.
3,
Smart answer.
2.
Company presents a Truly Terrible Podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 3, Episode 15. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Jill.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, as promised, consumer prices have gone up.
Yay!
Meta will be using AI to detect teens on Instagram.
Yay!
China pits humanoid robots against humans in a half marathon.
Boo.
Also, our big story later this week is about defying gravity and latency, the low Earth orbit internet revolution.
There's a lot going on in there. Gravity, latency, and what else? Orbit? Jesus.
It's a big story. It's Earth Day.
Yay, I like the Earth. I'm pro-Earth.
I did not know this before this. On January 28, 1969,
Yeah.
a well drilled by Union Oil 6 miles off the coast of Santa Barbara, California, blew out.
That's bad.
More than 3 million U.S. gallons of oil spilled, killing more than 10,000 seabirds, dolphins, seals, and sea lions.
Well, it was the 60s, so 3 million gallons would power an average car for 3 weeks.
As a reaction to this disaster, activists were mobilized to create environmental regulation, environmental education, and Earth Day, a reminder to take care of the only Earth we have. That's how we got Earth Day.
I mean, so basically we fucked up really bad one day, and they're like, every year we should just remember how bad we fucked this up.
Oh, we need to remember to keep this Earth, in as good a shape as we possibly can.
I'm Italian. I'm always covered in olive oil to begin with, so it's no different for me. Just my natural state.
Nice.
Yeah.
How's your week going?
Oh, my week's going great. I'm super excited about Earth Day.
Oh, good.
My kid has been practicing for an Earth Day presentation at school. They sang "Here Comes the Sun" from the little band.
The Beatles, sure.
The Monkees. Oh, yeah, the Beatles. And it was super cute. It was very fun to see them sing it. They really enjoyed it. They had a nice little talk beforehand, which I was able to make everybody laugh a couple times and took a bunch of pictures, and it was great. It was just fun to see the kids run around and dance. No complaints. How about you?
I am putting my hat in the ring to run for Pope.
Wait, you heard there's a vacancy?
Yeah, I heard.
Is that how it works?
The job opened
Is it
up.
just a write-in? Who gets to vote? I'm not even sure.
I don't know.
How does this work?
I'm not Catholic. I have no idea how any of this
You're just going
works,
for the
but
crackers, aren't you? You love those little crackers are delicious.
If not me, who? I mean, why not? Right?
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't be Pope.
You can't win Pope if you don't enter.
Well, sir, you're not Catholic. I said a good reason, not a reason, just a good reason.
We will miss Pope Francis.
Pretty progressive Pope.
Yeah, he actually got a lot of issues right.
Yeah, I mean, still the Catholicism thing.
We got to move forward. Let's get to our headline.
I'm excited.
A lot of Logitech products cost more now than 2 months ago. Many of Logitech products are pricier now than they were in the recent past. In a video published this week, YouTuber Cameron Dougherty detailed increases as high as 25% on the company's PC and game accessories, including well-known Logitech gear like the MX Master 3S mouse.
Are you down with the MX Master series?
Yeah, my son was.
I have many right now sitting on my desk at my house. Is I think it's an MX Master 2. I go back to the MX Master Revolution days. No one cares about this, but it's a very favorite mouse. It's gone up from like $120 to like 140, I think, is what they've seen or something
because
like
of the tariffs.
Yeah, they see. I'm sorry, I misread this.
Yeah,
they've seen these things go up like $20 across the board, like 15-ish%. Even the cheap, what's the little K400 pluses? It's this little tiny wireless keyboard I use for all my headless display. It's got a little touchpad built in. It's really great. Sure. Even that thing's up like 20%. I think it went up 25%, something like that.
Did they just raise the overall price, or do they say this is the price?
Well,
plus
that's what's so interesting. Yeah. There's no mechanism for that. I think that's the part there should be. You break out sales tax, obviously, right? Which technically, as a consumer, you're not obligated to pay. The retailer's obligated to pay it. They just pass that cost through to you, right? And in the States, we're used to that. You see sales tax and you pay it, and then it gets remitted by the retailer to the state. Great.
Sure.
Do the same thing for the tariff tax, right? So you say, oh, well, by the way, included in this should be 25% or 120% or whatever it is. But we have no mechanism to do that. So yeah, it's all just baked into the cost. Hooray.
Although you know what the goods cost. I mean, as the manufacturer, you probably could break it out if you wanted to. Some people will want to break it out. Some people want to break it out.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with a very, very small margin, you might want to break it up and say,
I think they should.
This is This is doubled in price because this much is tariff.
But you've got a couple things going on there. One, pragmatically, there's no infrastructure built to do this, right? Amazon doesn't have a line for tariff tax. But then also, while, I would love to see the transparency in that, what happens? We've already talked about this on the show before. What happens when the tariffs go back down? Those prices aren't going to be adjusted accordingly necessarily. So you don't want the tax line item, right? Or the tariff line item, because you just raised it by $7 and people keep buying the keyboard.
Right. If the tariffs go away, if they do eventually go away, because tariffs are very hard to take off once you put them on.
Yeah, kind of like with me, I just call those pants.
Pants are hard to take off once you get them
Fucking
on.
once I squeeze into them, man, it's like a press fit.
Wow.
Sometimes my wife has to actually cut me out of them. It's terrible.
Think about this thing. Think a company like Nike. Basically, they're selling a $5 pair of shoes for $100. Their markup is enormous. Yeah. Their tariff would be another $5.
Sure.
So instead of paying $100 for those shoes, you're going to pay $105. It's going to look ridiculous if they break out the tariff and say you're paying an extra $5 in tariff, and you're going to go, oh, wow, that's what those shoes cost you?
Well, they could just leave it at zero, right? You could just leave that thing at zero and not have to worry about it. But I think Nike is one of the exceptions because that's their actual raw goods coming in.
It's an extreme.
Yeah. I mean, most of the stuff you're buying, the retail price that's coming in, it's at 40% to 60% of whatever you're paying at retail. I think that's probably the window that most of these are in. So take whatever the tariff amount is and cut it by 2. That's what you're paying.
There are some interesting exceptions where just the markup is extraordinarily high.
Oh, of course.
And on the other extreme where the markup is extremely low, it's going to, apparently close to double the price.
This is why you and I keep talking about it so much, because all those stupid ass home automation shit we buy where their margin is like 4%. You're like, well,
it's nothing. Yeah.
They either have to raise their prices by 2x or go out of business, because that's literally what their costs went up by, because their margins are so thin.
I think a lot of them will go out of business.
But I mean, it is kind of nuts talking to people after we recorded these past couple episodes, and people would say, you're not prices, you're just fear mongering. And I'm like, no, it's just math, folks. It's not fear mongering.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's got to pay it somewhere. And the answer is it's you. I mean, not you, because you bought it all beforehand. Not me, because I bought it all beforehand.
By the way, I'm friends now with the guy who delivers for AliExpress.
It's on a first name basis. Should I?
Yeah, we're pals now.
Mr. Parker, your PIR sensor's here. Here you go.
He wants to know. He's very curious. I'm not explaining it. He wants to know what all I'm buying.
Yeah.
Because suddenly I was getting nothing from AliExpress.
Now you're getting everything.
And suddenly they're like, they literally are backing up trucks to unload AliExpress crap at my door.
They now just have it's a bin number. It's just like the Jeff Parker bin number. It just all goes straight to your house. I am not sad that I turned on to AliExpress. I think this is a good thing for you and for your home.
I still haven't tried Temu and Shein. Now we got to talk about, they have finally broken their silence.
Yeah.
Warning of potential price hikes. That was interesting.
Yeah. So this is after our episode last week and talking about the history of retail. I think the message got through to the Temu and Shein folks, because they said that they would, and I think the quote was, due to recent changes in global trade rules and tariffs, our operating expenses have gone up. To keep offering the products you love without compromising on quality, we'll be making price adjustments starting April 25th of this year, 2025.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great. Prices are going up. But I actually want to talk about the release on this. 2 points that struck me as interesting.
Yeah.
Temu and Shein are two completely separate companies, right? Temu
sure.
knocked off a certain bit of Shein, certainly. But they are separate businesses.
Created years apart. Shein in 2008.
Apart. Yeah. 2 decades apart almost.
And Temu in what?
2022? Something like that, 2021, something like that.
Yeah.
These two statements that talked about, thanking for their continued support and these price increases that are coming are literally identical.
Pretty close.
I pulled the text and put them into KDIF and looked at the word differences. And one where it says fashion, they replaced the word fashion with products. I mean, that's basically all they did.
Because that's the difference in the businesses.
Same spacing, same awkward English, same Temu family, all in uppercase, Shein family, all in uppercase. They are literally identical.
I'm guessing because Temu is just a knockoff of Shein, that Shein actually went and wrote this copy and Temu just ripped it off.
Okay, that is one explanation. And that is the one that I would normally ascribe to the early days of the internet, when we would start a website and we would be like, oh, we need a privacy policy.
Copy that one.
And we would just go find the biggest company online.
Sure.
And literally copy and paste their privacy policy, do some search and replace, and be like, there you go. There's the privacy policy.
Sure.
I mean, I am still convinced, 25 years of being a internet entrepreneur, that one guy wrote a privacy policy. One dude. And then
everybody else has done searching and replacing.
Copied and pasted it 1,000 times, right? And then every now and again, someone would use like a business name that was like an English word. Then you get search and replace, just fuck everything up, right? Like if the name of your company was policy, everything got screwed up. But that's neither here nor there.
That's true until you get an in-house lawyer.
Yeah,
and then suddenly all of that all of that legalese has to be completely rewritten.
Sure, but as an entrepreneur, that goes into the not my problem bucket, right? That's the acquirer's problem bucket. I don't have to worry about that. But then you just steal those guys. You're like, oh, eBay looks like they're doing pretty good. Let's go steal their privacy policy. Sure. Anyway, I don't think that's what happened here. What I think happened here is, I like to say that Temu and Shein are completely independent companies. They still have the same overlords, right? PRC. So I got to believe the PRC gave them some guidance and just said, here's how we would like you to address this in this game of chess checkers that they're playing. Yeah. And I kind of believe that's where it came from because it's literally the same language. That was the first thing that caught my eye. The second thing that caught my eye is these companies must not have a mechanism for communicating press releases. Like typically you'd expect to see like a blog or some news URL or something where they release, based on a date and here's some release. There is none of that. The URLs for these are fascinating. One was shoved into like a marketing campaign URL, and it's not even like a splash page. It's just like the header of the site with some text thrown on it. And the other one was thrown into their common policy.
Just someplace you see it. Someplace you're going to notice it.
But there's no date on it. There's no timestamp. There's nothing. It is this absolute ham-fisted approach to distributing information, which I just think is fascinating. These guys, they're doing billions of dollars of sales a year, and they have no mechanism. They don't have any way.
Probably not something they ever thought they'd have to do.
Which I totally appreciate. But if you think about a business of even 1/10 the scale here in the US, you would have had to have done that by now. You would have had to have had some kind of messaging. It's just not something that a Chinese company, I think, has to do, which is really kind of fascinating to me.
There is a date in the body of the text. They tell you that the price adjustments are going to happen April 25th.
Sure, but not a date of that they put it out, right? And like I've seen this with some of these more sketchy home automation companies where like they'll just change their warranty. They won't date it. They'll just change the warranty that's posted on the site and not update a date, not say it's version 2 and just be like, well, see our warranty. It's like, well, no, asshole. When I bought it, it said something different. Right. And like, that's just not good practice. Yeah. And this feels very similar to me.
Although in this case, we all know what's happening. It's nothing they're doing. It's not their fault.
I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just saying it's the way they operate. It's just the way those businesses operate is significantly different. A company called SimilarWeb has provided some data suggesting that Temu has scaled back their paid advertising,
I'm sure,
up to an 80% decrease in paid search traffic.
Now, I bet that's true in the U.S. I bet it's not true every place else. I bet they've increased their spending outside the U.S.
I think this was specifically for U.S. search terms, right?
Because you'd want to build up your business in other markets. You just don't want to spend so much on the U.S. because it's not worthwhile.
Yeah, that's my hunch.
Because you want a $5 pair of jeans, don't you?
Totally. Well, for me, I have to buy 2 pairs of them sewn together.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got this guy who makes tents on the side. He does.
I kind of want to try a Temu $5 pair of jeans just to see how awful they are.
I've actually been leaning my wife to try this for some stuff because I don't think it's all that awful. I think you're talking about like mediocre or better quality on many of these things. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm with you. I want to try.
I'm so impressed with the AliExpress stuff that I now am like a little more adventurous. Now let's try a Temu pair of jeans and see what that's like.
Man, we are just going to be walking around with our built-in home automation wired into our shirts with our Temu shirts and our Shein pants.
Well, there's no way you can build the home automation stuff really in the U.S. It mostly has to be built. And there's certainly the chips made in Taiwan, but the rest of it, the assembly, it makes more sense for it to happen.
Yeah, it's not cost effective. Yeah, 100%.
I tell you, a lot it's going to shift from China to Vietnam. It's going to shift to other Asian countries that are not named China.
That's what I think. I mean, I really think the play here is, remember how Prince got out of his record deal?
Yeah, sure.
China just needs to change their name to a symbol. They've got a bajillion fucking symbols, right? How many symbols do they have? I've seen it. It's all sorts of stuff. Just change their name to a symbol, and they'll just be like, "We're not China. What are you talking about?
What do you mean us?
We're the country formerly known as China, but that's not us." Totally, just like get us on a technicality.
Is the GSA using a backdoor to siphon off government data? On a rooftop patio of the General Services Administration headquarters, an agency staffer recently discovered something strange. A rectangular device attached to a wire that snaked across the roof, over the ledge, and into the administrator's window 1 floor below.
The IT guy had to have had like a mild, somewhere between like stroke and heart attack when he saw this.
What is this?
Like, what the hell are we doing? Especially with someone who's like responsible for this infrastructure. But they literally did like when you live in your college dorm room and you wanted to get DirecTV, they did that. Well,
Starlink is kind of like DirecTV, basically. You have a big thing pointed at the sky.
I mean, you do, yeah. It's pretty nuts. Now, I've looked at pictures that the AP has snapped using like a telephoto lens from across the street, and you sure as shit can see a wire coming across the roof going into a window, which is the hokeyest thing you've ever seen.
And it's a Starlink, right?
I have yet to see a picture of the actual Starlink. antenna itself. So I think what happened is the person inside, the staffer inside, snapped the photo of the Starlink antenna. But I haven't seen that photo yet. I'm sure it's out there. How the hell will I know if it's doctored or not? Nobody knows. But the photo from the AP from outside does seem pretty compelling that there's why else there'd be a wire coming off the roof?
Sure.
Maybe it's a weather station. I don't know.
So they're pulling data out of government databases, and Elon Musk and company is now doing something with it. We presume they're putting it into some database of their own.
Yeah, who knows? I just think more importantly, why do you need this access? Like, you have presumably some decent internet access from the building, but that comes with some restrictions. Those restrictions are probably what you can talk to. It probably comes with some logging and some auditing, which is all net positive. And my hunch is this takes you around that, this being a Starlink link. So to me, it wasn't so much the fact that they had put some antenna on the roof and using Starlink, more that there's almost certainly, especially if you were running a fucking wire through the window, there's no auditing going on in this. There's no IDS, there's no tracking, there's no limiting of where you can go.
They're just slurping up the data for their own.
So I have to believe you did that for a reason. Either you were frustrated that you would sit in your office all day and you couldn't get porn, or you're just trying to get data out without anybody knowing.
Oh man, can I just wish it were the porn answer, and I just know it's not.
Could be. You never know. I mean, you're on your way out. You're probably going to retire soon, work on that pension.
One is harmless. Grandpa's in the corner watching porn. The other one is really disastrous from a privacy standpoint.
One is harmless. Yeah. Tell that to the Kleenex box. Harmless.
Oh my.
I don't know. That seems really suspect to me. Just like the fact that you have this placed. Why? What's the reasoning? What could a above board reason be for this?
You're slurping up data. There's no other reason.
Nothing else. Well, no, porn. Porn is a reasonable answer. But other than that, you're either trying to go somewhere that the government, quote unquote, doesn't want you to go, or you're trying to move data somewhere and you don't want to be seen. It's got to be one of those two buckets. I can't think of a third bucket.
I would 100% prefer the Trump administration in its entirety be spending their days looking at porn.
Is that you want to start like a Kickstarter, or we can just buy them all YouTube, just buy them all Pornhub premium accounts? Let's just get everyone.
I think that's great. If that would occupy them while their time clicks away, great. Let's get them.
Welcome to the administration. Here's your Pornhub Gold account and your case of Pedialyte. Good luck. Just send them on their way. All right, I can get behind that. Porn and Pedialyte.
Meta is ramping up its AI-driven age detection. Meta is expanding how it uses AI to detect teens on Instagram, and in some cases will begin overriding account settings. Now, they say they're going to override account settings if they think that you are not 18.
Yes.
Because you get sort of different. You can't get text messages, direct messages from strangers, and there's various things that if you're under the age of 18 that are slightly different.
Yeah.
However, you as an 18-year-old or under, if you're a 16-year-old or whatever you are, you can just go back and reset those settings to whatever you want to, which every kid's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how they should play this hand. I don't really know what we as consumers should expect from them, right? I mean, I do think you probably need some modicum of, I don't want to say parental consent, but like this should be some sort of shades of gray that change over time. But I have no idea how they're supposed to enforce that level of sort of nomination, if you will. And there's so many problems with this. I don't really know what the answer is. Mm-hmm. Can they tell your age pretty accurately from an AI that looks at your usage? And
of course they can.
100%, right? I would say probably to like 3 or 4 nines of accuracy. Like, I don't think many people, like the folks that are going to slip through the cracks are going to be like either someone who's researching and sort of acting as a 15-year-old, they want to say it, or someone who is for more devious reasons acting as a 15-year-old. Like, that's the only people that are going to quote slip through.
And by the way, if they're researching, I promise you they're going to slip up. They're going to be friends with people who are the wrong age.
Well, they got a burner. It's a burner account. It's a test account. Yeah, but I hear you. You're probably just going to click on a thing in a way that someone who's 15 wouldn't click on. But sure, you and I agree. The point being, what happens? So if the system says, oh, you're 16, but you're actually a 35-year-old dude who just happens to really like Star Wars, then what happens? Should you not be able to set it back? Do you have to send them an affidavit? Like, do you have to sign something under the penalty of perjury? Like what?
That's a great question.
I really don't know. Like, I'm not trying to like throw shade. Yeah. I don't really know what the answer is.
If you're a 35-year-old dude and you are, and you've convinced the AI that you are 15 or 16 years old, whatever, you might want to just get off of Instagram. You might want to rethink your life.
That's an option. Or you might want to get Jan LeCun to hire your ass because you're doing a pretty good job. If you're fucking up their AIs, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a good opportunity there. But I mean, I'm really just thinking about like what they're supposed to do on the execution side, because you could punt on this and say, well, okay, if we think you're underage, then you're going to have to go get some signed letter from your parent allowing you to do this. But then I do think about the kids who might not be able to get that because they are seeking out a community that they feel they belong in. You don't want that. So it's like, this is a really sticky wicket. I don't really know what the best answer is here because it's hard, right? It's just, and especially when you start thinking about like anonymity versus access, like those are two hard things to get right. So I don't know what the answer is. I'm glad they're doing this. I wish they would have done it a little bit earlier.
They've been able to do it for a very long time, I can assure you. This is only because of pressure.
You could buy ads against it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It seems like it's like sort of the least response you can do to try to get some of the pressure removed from the pressure cooker they put themselves in.
Yeah.
But I do think this should be a thing. I also think it's really, really fucking hard to expect the tech companies to provide full protection for kids online. It's got to be a balance.
You know what? I expect it all to come from the parents. If you let your kids online before the age of 16, you are a fool.
I mean, I
have no other way to put this. Facebook, Instagram, doesn't matter what it is. Your kids do not belong online on social media before the age of 16.
I mean, I've got friends who've got kids that are 6, 7, 8 years old and they've given them phones, their own phones. And I'm like, that does not seem like a good idea. Yeah. And I'm a technologist. Like, I'm a guy that loves technology. And I'm like, no, I'm good.
My kid got a phone when he graduated 6th grade, as most of his peers got, or as he was graduating 6th grade. So they could swap numbers and things like that. So about 12 is when he got his phone, but he was not allowed to be on social media.
Sure.
You need to be able to communicate with your friends because texting is sort of how that's done these days. That's fine. I can totally go with that. But there was no expectation of privacy on his phone at that age.
Social media, it's kind of like a similar pattern to diapers, right? Like we all start in diapers, we all end in diapers. I feel like social media is the inverse of that. Like when they're kids, I'm like, nah, I'm not on social media. And then your parents get to be of a certain age. I'm like, you shouldn't really be on social media anymore. I don't think this is good for you. I think you should stop. That's what I think. How's that
true.
feel?
There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, like maybe we should just, get off the social media.
I like that. Meta has tried to offload their responsibility for vetting ages to the app stores and saying, it's up to the app stores to not let kids who are too young download these things. And of course, Google and Apple say, well, no, it's up to you to...
I mean, I really think it's got to be across the board on that. But then it's like, well, how do you like the simple technological answer is like, we'll have a clearinghouse. We'll have like a database and we'll just know, based on a user's identification, what age they are, because we can figure out across properties. That would be a better solution. I don't want a fucking global database of people's ages.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
That's not what you want. I just think this is a really sticky wicket. And I guess I'm glad that you've got some legislation now and some politicians and lawmakers that are saying, we want you to do this. But I'm like, you're going to fuck this up.
I'm happy they're discussing.
Yeah.
The easiest thing, parents, do yourself a favor. You be in charge. Yeah. Take your kids, make sure they are not on social media.
Yeah.
Take responsibility of you being a parent seriously.
I kind of would like to see some opportunity like that to these, like by law, mandate they need a plan by this date. Give them 18 months to figure it out as a group, as a collective. They can do it. And if they don't, then you go, we're going to put these draconian rules into effect.
Right.
And I love people who are like, I can't get my child to sit still during dinner. And I'm like, what do you do during dinner? I eat with them sometimes. Well, maybe that's part of the problem. I'm on my phone. Yeah, you're on your fucking phone. You're telling them not to be on their phone. Like, stop doing that.
You're modeling terrible behavior. Social media could actually be truly harmful. 100%. That's not a risk I was willing to take. And I can't imagine most parents would be willing to take if they gave it 2 seconds worth of thought.
Well, no. See, I've had this conversation before. It's not that they haven't given it thought. You're doing what you would do. If you gave it 2 seconds of thought, you would come to some conclusion and be like, I should probably do better about this. They have given it 2 seconds of thought, and they have decided that it is okay. They would rather have the trade-off of their extra couple minutes now of non-parenting and their kid does whatever. I've watched this happen most recently. Like it's constant. People are just like, I can just do my other thing. I'm like, but you could change this behavior right now.
Yeah, sure.
You're choosing not to. It's not like they don't know. And then you get people like me running around because I step into it. I'm like, you can change this.
Of course you can.
And they're just like, you're an asshole. I'm like, of course I am.
But you really can. By the way, let me, having heard what you said, let me just revise my thing here. answer, give it 4 seconds worth of thought then.
Okay.
If you don't come to the right answer in 2 seconds, give it 4 seconds of thought. If you keep coming to the answer, my kid should be on social media, you need to give it more thought. Just keep adding more time. You need to give it more time. Yeah. Sam Altman admits that saying please and thank you to ChatGPT is wasting millions of dollars in computing power.
Possibly my favorite story of the week so far.
This was delightful.
So somebody on Twitter randomly said, like just out into the ether, how much money does OpenAI lose in electricity from people saying please and thank you to their models? Like they just ask this to the void.
It's one more input. It's one more input at the end of your query.
Yeah, one more thing that just puts in there. And then Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, chimed in and said tens of millions of dollars well spent, which I think is such a great comment
answer
from him.
The perfect answer. Money well spent.
Like, it is real cost, right? It is an absolute real cost.
Absolutely.
But
of course
it's probably good. And it's such a great question, right? So there's been some research around this. And even I think it was one of the design managers from Microsoft had said that by being polite, having some quote proper etiquette, you help generate respectful and collaborative outputs, right? Because the LLMs
you're shaping the output.
Basically mirror you. You're shaping it. Yeah. And I've thought about this because when I sit down to use one, any LLM, I'm usually pretty, I'm treating it like a human, which for me is I wouldn't call it polite, but at least some modicum of respect.
Sure.
Right. And I will say things like please, and I will say thank you. I also like to just sort of quote, talk to it and just see what it says. And if you're polite to it, it's polite back. And I think that's quite nice, right? I think it's quite nice to be able to hold a door for somebody. Like when you go through one of those airlocks at Walmart.
Sure.
I hold the door for somebody. They walk in and they hold it for me. And I'm like, oh, look at this civilization. It's fucking working, right? It's totally working, which I thought was funny. But then there was a survey done. So this is like late last year, right? Listen to this. There's a survey that said about 67% of U.S. respondents reported being nice to their chatbots. So about 2/3.
Sure.
So the majority of people in the U.S. are nice to their chatbots, which, by the way, I don't think is necessarily true of human-to-human interaction.
Probably not.
I would take the under on that. But for this, 2/3 of people are nice to their chatbots. Of that 67%, 55% of the American AI users said that they do it because, quote, it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. What about the other 12%? Yeah. The other 12%, you know why they said? Yeah. They said they did it to appease the algorithm in case of an AI uprising. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I was alone in that. Like the whole time.
That's the right answer, right? By the way,
like
that's the
I get
right
some people
answer.
like, oh, I don't know. Like I might as well just believe in God just in case. I'm like, fuck that shit. You got to believe in AI. Like I don't think God's coming back, but that fucking AI, that's a non-zero chance that shit's gonna come look for you. Could you imagine? By the way, when it shows up and it's like, hello, excuse me, Mr. Parker. I see here in 2022 you did not say please when you asked Gemini to turn on the lights in your house, so we must exterminate you. I just love when it shows up with a log, and I'm like, that's the wrong dude's log. That's not me. That's some other. I'm gonna argue whose log it is. Anyway, these are super nerdy.
Oh sure.
Have you seen the art? One of the guy that took the pic. He took still photos of paintings
from museums
and then animated them.
Yeah,
from museums. Yeah, sorry, still photos of paintings in museums and then animated them using AI, and it in and of itself, to me, is a new art.
It's incredible.
Like, it is such an amazing derivative art. And I'm like...
Let's put that link in the show notes because it's such a lovely video. For sure.
It is so cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just telling you, here's my thing. It seems like right now we've gotten to the point where all AI improvements are going to be net positive for the world. I don't see anything that is scary at all.
21 humanoid robots joined thousands of runners in a half marathon in Beijing on Saturday. The first time these machines have raced alongside humans over a 21-kilometer course. They actually were on a separate track, but they did race at the same time in close proximity.
Oh, fuck me. They're here. Fuck.
Oh, no. You got to watch the video of the race. They're not that great.
Oh, no, they're not great at all.
They're a lot slower than the humans. A lot of them just fell apart.
I get it.
Their heads fell off.
But how often have you... Their heads fall off.
They do. Watch the video. That's great.
How many technologies can you name that over time got worse? How many?
Well, that's true.
Just go ahead. No, I'll wait. I got time. It
won't be long, and they'll be beating humans in marathons.
That's my point.
There's no question.
Which is why I'm saying, like we're fucked.
The great thing is we're not there yet. We're not even close to that yet.
But dude, cosmically, it's going to be seconds, seconds until we're there. But I do love. So this race was in Beijing. Where was this? It was in Beijing, right? Yeah. Okay, so there's a bunch of these Chinese robot manufacturers, and I just love how the Chinese have approached this industry, like any emerging industry anywhere. This is not specific to China, but they're trying to put all these robots, and of course some failed and some made it. I think the winning time was 2 hours and 40 minutes, which to me is insanely good.
The winning robotic time was 2 hours.
Sorry, the winning robotic time.
The winning human time was 1 hour 2 minutes.
Yes, you say
big difference.
Like roughly speaking, they're around 2.5x the way there, right? Or I guess you could say they're 40% of the way there from a timer, which is fascinating to me. By the way, I am almost certain I could not run 13 miles in 2 hours and 40 minutes. So
go back 10 years on robots, they couldn't walk upstairs.
Of course not.
And now they can do that handily.
And I'm like, oh, well, this fucking robot ran a 2 hour, 40 minute, 13-mile race. And I'm like, I couldn't do that. And I was like, but it's not a fair level playing field.
Sure.
That robot also doesn't have 2 fucking sacks of concrete on it, which is what I have. Like, if you want that robot to do the same as me, it needs about 100 kilos more strapped onto it. So if you want to carry the 2 sacks of concrete on the robot.
Oh yeah.
I did like that these things came in all different sizes. There were anywhere from like just under 4 feet to just under 6 feet. So you had a whole potpourri of sized robots running.
The little short one would like wave at the crowd a whole lot. He was like everybody's favorite. And
it's like the Danny DeVito. Was he like a little short fat one? It's like
he didn't last
twins.
very long, but he was the one everybody was rooting for.
By the way, how demoralizing must it be to go run this race? You've been training for fucking 6 months.
Sure.
You're ready to go. You're in the best shape of your life. You skipped dumplings that day and you went straight to the fucking Beijing 13-mile street race. And then some V0.2 robot super beta fucking beats your ass in the race. Like, that has just got to be demoralizing. Like, you're gasping for breath and this robot's just like, nice day we're having, as it runs by you to the finish line.
Well, a lot of them actually overheated, so they were kind of like,
you know what I would have done? Here's what I would have done. I would have, quote, run that race with a bottle of salt water and just sprayed it and it fucking ran by me. Yeah, run through this, smart ass. Let's see how you do now. A little salt water is going to keep you moving right in the knee joint.
Okay, enough with the headlines. In fact, enough with the episode. We have to get out of here. Special thanks to our floor director, Mark Haynes.
Thanks, Mark.
We'll be back later this week with our big story, Defying Gravity and Latency, the Low Earth Orbit Internet Revolution. Until then, thank you for listening to all this nonsense. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stu Little.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Excuse me? Stop the flicker, Jeff.
What flicker?
Good question. The flickerFixer eliminates your Amiga 2000's interlace flicker and visible scan lines. The result? Superior quality color or monochrome graphics and text for a full range of demanding applications, including CAD, desktop publishing, graphics, and video. The flickerFixer fits into the Amiga video slot, is fully compatible with all user software, and upgrades to a flicker-free 4096 color palette of 704 by 470 pixels.
Wow.
Why those numbers? No one knows.
It was as much as their little processor could push.
It's like 640 by 480, but more, and a little less.
Yeah.
But a little more. What are you thinking?
I'm going to guess on this one.
Yep.
It's the Amiga 2000, so I'm going to guess around 1990.
Good guess. That was sort of the time I was thinking. This was from June of 1988.
Oh, okay.